about DIY projects is that if you've ever done one, as we all have, most of us have experienced a moment where you think to yourself, this is not going the way that I thought it would. It's just
Right.
it's just not working out the way. And then the other thing, my dad likes to make fun of all the shows on HGTV. Whenever the TV's on HGTV, he'll just walk in the room and start laughing. He'll go, it's so easy. Because he's just like, what they don't show you is the team of contractors they have standing off camera, ready to jump in on a moment's notice to fix whatever circumstance and problem is happening. And they edit that part out of the show. So Abe, you're the person, you're the off-camera guy for this conversation about DIYing our tax plan because it's a real thing. And so many of us do it when it comes to, actually, I should take that back. I said DIYing our tax plan. So many of us DIY our tax prep, our tax preparations, our year-to-year taxes. What you like to talk about is the importance of tax planning years in advance throughout our retirement plan. And there was this article on Newsweek talking about how a surprising number of us still DIY our taxes. So what I wanted to talk about today is the benefits of working with a professional. Not only that, but why, especially when it comes to retirement, we should not be DIYing our tax plan.
Yeah, it's complicated.
Other than the tax code being thousands of pages long. But
that's one of many reasons why. I mean, this is not something the average American just knows about. And like, who wants to do that anyway? Like a lot of people do their own taxes, but then when you start talking about tax planning and strategy on your retirement dollars and your life savings, a lot of people that's over their heads. Like that's out of their comfort zone. And you can only find out so much information on Google, right? And if you search on Google for opinions or advice or information, you're going to get all kinds of stuff. Like I'm with Roth conversions, like some people are for them, some people are against them. And a lot of it comes down to you and what makes best sense for you. But man, a lot of times, especially with financial and retirement planning, unless you're just doing it day in and day out, or a super, super geeky financial nerd that loves watching the markets several times a day, creating spreadsheets and just tracking those and watching those all the time. If that's what you want to do in retirement, then you could probably do this stuff on your own if you're really super on top of it. But I'll tell you what, most of our clients, they like to golf, they like to travel, like to spend time with their grandkids, go to church, have, hobbies and volunteer opportunities and all kinds of things, maybe some part-time, work. And they don't want to deal with tax strategy, running their own Roth conversion calculations. No, that's not who an Abich client is. Now they might be doing some of that on their own and then verifying it with us, right? We're working together. They've got things built. Hey, I've got my numbers, Abe. I want to run this by you and the team, see what you guys come up with. And if we're coming up with numbers that are very similar, that gives our clients a lot of confidence. Yeah. But looking at this article from Newsweek here, Heather, there are 5 reasons that the article mentions. We should probably go through them. Okay. That are big benefits of having a financial professional. And I would say a phase 2 fiduciary retirement planner who specializes in helping people at the point of retirement. Now we're talking about, we predominantly only work with people 55 and older. Mostly our clients are in their 60s because that's when most people are retiring. 5 reasons here that you really need to seek out a professional. And again, we would recommend that phase 2 advisor who specializes in working with people your age, right? With monies that are similar to what you've accumulated, typically a couple $1 million at least. 5 reasons you might want to consider a tax advisor. Number 1, you want to build more wealth. So you're just not going to ignore the potential future higher tax bill on your life savings. More than likely, you bought into the same myth that a lot of people did, that when you retire, you're going to be in a lower tax bracket. So what did you do? Like most middle Americans, you stuffed your 401k and TSP and IRAs and SEPs and 403bs with pre-tax dollars, hoping that when you get to retirement, you'll be in a lower tax bracket, or assuming that when you get to retirement, you'll be in a lower tax bracket, realizing now that you see the end in sight, that you are retired, that you will not be in a lower tax bracket, probably, that you will probably be in a higher tax bracket. And then when RMDs start, required minimum distributions at age 73 and beyond, if you've done a diligent job, awesome job of saving, you have several million or more saved. And it's in these pre-tax accounts that continue to accumulate and hit higher values. man, the required minimum distributions can be substantial.
Yeah.
Those will likely kick you into higher tax brackets. So what I tell people, Heather, is even if the current tax code went permanent for the rest of our lives and never increased, these brackets remain permanent. A lot of our clients that are currently in the 12, 22, and 24 will bump up into another bracket or two down the road if those IRAs continue to ramp up and grow, because they'll have substantial RMDs they have to take out. Those alone will bump them into higher tax brackets, even if the tax code never changes and the brackets never go up. Our clients' taxes probably will. So one of the fastest ways to build more wealth is to find ways to legally reduce taxes on your cash, on your investments, on real estate transactions, whatever it is. Working with a tax advisor and a financial professional who understands tax strategy, reducing, lowering, mitigating taxes on your wealth can increase your cash flow, allow you to pass on dollars that are more tax efficient. Maybe you have a stepped up cost basis that you can pass on to your loved ones. Maybe you're passing on money in a Roth IRA, a life insurance policy. The best two places to pass money on, by the way, all tax free. Worst place to pass on money to your loved ones would be a traditional IRA, taxable TSP, taxable 401k, because it's fully taxable.
In your opinion, Uncle Sam would tell you it's the best way.
I know, because they're looking out for their own tax revenue. We got to look out for our own tax revenue. And like, what is a net amount in our pockets while we're alive? What's the net amount to our families when we pass on, right? Now, some of you watching right now may not care what you pass on to your loved ones, and you may just say, well, if they get a couple million, they can deal with a tax bill then. That's their problem. I'm gone. But a lot of people watching right now are going to say, you know what? Yeah, I want to not only pass on money to my loved ones. Legacy is important to me, but I don't want them to get, screwed with a massive tax bill. I want them to receive the $5 million I want to pass on. But if it's passing on in pre-taxed accounts, they're going to get clobbered with tax. There are lots of incentives available out there, and you need to understand the rules to the game. The government wants you to find wealth by investing in things that advance its tax priorities, as you just mentioned, Heather. But a high-quality tax advisor, a fiduciary, retirement planner that maybe has some tax background, you're working with a firm that has a CPA or accountant, or working with a firm like ours that partners with and collaborates with other tax professionals is really key in building a comprehensive financial and retirement plan. That tax plan included in this comprehensive plan is crucial to incorporate that in your wealth building strategy. The political landscape right now is crazy. Look, we just had this big, beautiful bill that just got passed. We're still digesting all of this information, tons of new information and changes inside the big, beautiful tax bill. Laws change all the time. Rules change all the time. Working with someone who understands a tax code, who understands tax planning strategies, whatever it is, Roth conversions, 1031s, 1035s, tax loss harvesting, it's really, really important. Really important.
And I think also, as we have seen political parties and politicians become so divided and the parties themselves are so polarized, knowing that, and every 4 years the administration could change over, and what got done from one administration can completely be undone by the next administration. The back and forth of that, dealing with that on your own is a lot. And so, because I don't think you talk to most Americans, I feel like probably most of us are going to say, this is the political environment moving forward. This is what we're in. So it is. That on your own is a lot, particularly when you're in retirement and you don't want to be dealing with any of this nonsense.
Yeah, and we talk about it all the time when it comes to investing, Heather, but I think the same thing with taxes and just planning in general. You want to remove emotion, right? There's going to be a new president. Maybe it's the same president every 4 years. You can only be a president for so long, but
that's right.
They might get a repeat in there. But presidents change and Congress changes and politicians change. And so, if that's kind of spooking you out a little bit and making you nervous based on who's in office, you got to remove emotion and just deal with the facts. And that's why having a plan in place, a tax plan, the investment plan that removes emotion and just looks at all the data and most importantly, your plan. Right. A lot of our clients find out, all this noise is happening out there. All these things are going out there. But how does it affect you, Heather? How does it affect you and your husband's financial plan? You might be insulated. You might be just fine.
Right.
So if the economy makes you nervous, this is point number 4, you're worried about what's going on in the economy. It's going to change all the time. You're not alone. Having the right tax strategy, having a tax plan will likely allow you to hit your goals, maybe even sooner and in almost any economy. And a tax advisor will help you build and adjust that strategy as needed. Finally, the IRS, does monitor these returns, and having a good tax advisor, having a financial professional, retirement planner that incorporates tax planning, maybe that doesn't do the tax return. You want to work with a tax professional usually to do that. But having a right, tax team on your side ensures, that you never have to talk to the IRS yourself, or hopefully you don't have to talk to the IRS yourself.
Yeah.
But gives you more confidence, right? Gives you more confidence.
Yep.
And so these are a lot of reasons, just going back to, the Roth IRA and life insurance, and how most Americans bought into this myth that they'll be in a lower tax bracket when they retire. If you're watching right now and you have tons of money saved and it's in pre-taxed accounts, you probably really want to start thinking about, how do I get some of these dollars to be more tax efficient, more tax advantaged? All right, I've won the game. I've got 2, 3, 5 million, whatever it is, saved. I feel like I'm in a good place, but man, I'm just now realizing, I have a lot of money saved, but I've been putting it away and socking it away into pre-taxed accounts since my 20s and 30s, and I got a big tax bill coming down the pike. I want to make sure that my money is pretty tax efficient when I'm alive. And if legacy and passing dollars on to your loved ones is important to you, then you really want to get out ahead of it now and start to do some tax planning. Mix in that comprehensive tax plan with the investment and retirement plan.
I think also, just like everything else we talk about, it's like building the plan. Be proactive. Don't stick your head in the sand. Like, take advantage of opportunities that are in front of you right now. Work with somebody who will continue to point out opportunities as economies change, as White House administration changes. There's always opportunity. That's another thing we also like to talk about, Abe. There is always opportunity. So working with somebody to point that out to you along the way.
Yep. It's little things. I've just thought of a couple clients as you were talking, Heather. I mean, one client just came in recently with about $1 million to invest from the sale of a business. Now, they're actually going to take a decent tax hit up front from the sale of the business, but then they want to be tax efficient. They want to minimize taxes as much as possible with the ongoing $1 million they have to invest. Another client came in recently with about $2 million in cash, just cash that was accumulating over time, and she's making like 4% on the cash. That's $80,000 a year in just interest income. What if we could move the cash around a little bit, reinvest it, and get it in some tax advantage accounts that could reduce the tax bill to her every single year? And her eyes lit up. She didn't know what to do. She's in her early 70s, and just by getting a second opinion, understanding the rules of the game, understanding how accounts work, understanding how the math works and taxes work and all these things can really be to your favor. So
there's a lot. And as I was pointing out at the beginning of the conversation, when it comes to DIYing your taxes, when it comes to retirement, there's just so much more involved in this next phase of your financial life. So Abe and his team working to be a resource for you for a second opinion, and in other ways also lots of resources for you. In fact, one, Abe's book, The Retirement Mountain, The 7 Steps to a Long-Lasting Retirement. You talk right here. Chapter 15 is about step 5, building a tax strategy and the importance of having that in a plan. Abe wrote this book. It's it's just about 90 pages, maybe 100 pages, easy to read in a couple of hours on a weekend afternoon, where you can learn a lot about just getting started on the planning process. So the book is available for you to purchase on Amazon. We also have a PDF link. You can find out ways to download a free chapter, or I believe a free chapter of the ebook on our website, theretirementkey.com. Also, Abe, we were talking about, there was one resource you said you wanted to make sure that we linked to, which we will, the tax and benefit, the 2025 tax and benefit guide. This is a sheet.
Correct.
People do some steps.
Yeah, it's a 1 to 2 pager, and it goes. It lists all the tax brackets. It lists all the contribution amounts that we can contribute to 401ks, IRAs. It's got an RMD table there. It's got information on Social Security, on capital gains tax, all kinds of good stuff.
Okay.
But a lot of people find that guide really helpful and handy.
Great. Well, we're going to put links to that, as well as to the book, as well as to our website, in our show notes. So again, just working to be a resource for you. That's what Abe and his team, they want to be. They want to help you through this process, which can feel so overwhelming and confusing, simplifying it into a plan that you can understand. This is the goal of Abich Financial. So theretirementkey.com is where you can go to begin the conversation. Or again, we've got all those links posted in the show notes. Just click there and get to tax planning. Get to it. Or I should say, get to it with a professional. Stop DIYing.
That's right. That's right.
Again, it's theretirementkey.com.